It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
8 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight where Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
TreVeyon Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and TreVeyon Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everybody's working for the weekend, and the weekend is right here. It's on the horizon. It is a glorious Football Friday for the Early Line and the SportsGrid Network. We got 2 hours of power ready to get you ready for tonight's action and what's going to happen on Saturday college football, Sunday NFL, and so much more. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri, and you know this, man. You open up your digital paper. That's the Early Line to get the information you need to know for the rest of your day, Joe. We're fired up. We're ready to go. Friday, it's here.
Got a little something for everyone, Donnie. A couple of big college football games tonight, heading into what is going to be a huge Week 13 slate. Not to mention a lot of basketball, NBA, and college to dive into.
Let's get after it, people. Let's not delay any longer. And if you need caffeine to get yourself ready for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, shame on you. But you know what? We're going double caffeinated here, Joe. What do we got?
Well, Donnie, today we're talking about the pendulum finally swinging back. For years, the NFL has been obsessed with offense. More points, more passing. Let's make it illegal to breathe on the quarterback. The league office basically turned playing defense, well, into a crime. But guess what? The defenses have fought back. And this season, well, the pendulum has indeed swung back because defense is once again king. Look at last night. The Houston Texans, #1 defense here in the NFL, just put on a clinic against Josh Allen and the Bills. They sacked him the career high 8 times. They held one of the league's best offenses to just 13 points until, of course, we also added in a meaningless kickoff return by the Bills. That's pure dominance, Donnie. That is old school, punch you in the mouth football. Their defense is also the reason that they are now over 500 for the first time this season. And oh yeah, Indy, guess who's coming? Yeah, the Houston Texans defense. And it's not just Houston, though. Look at Denver. The Broncos are sitting at 9-2. Why? Is it because Bo Nix and their offense is lighting up the scoreboard? No, it's because they have one of the most ferocious top 3 defenses that just suffocated Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs last week, and they held the best quarterback and the best coach on the planet to 19 points and made them look human. How about your Philadelphia Eagles? They just beat the Packers and Lions in back-to-back weeks, holding them to, why they just scored, 26 points combined? How do you do that? By allowing one touchdown in 2 games. That's how you do it. That is championship-level defense. The stats don't lie. Top 16 scoring defenses in the league this year all have winning records. 8 of the top 10 overall defenses, they're all winners, Donnie. For a decade, we've been told that you need to score 35 points in a game to win in this modern NFL. This season is proving that is absolute nonsense. The 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens, the Legion of Boom, those teams didn't care about your fantasy points. They cared about rings. And right now, the teams playing that brand of football are the ones sitting at the top of the standings. So go ahead, draft your quarterbacks and your wide receivers, teams and GMs. I'll take a pass rush any day. I'll take the lockdown corners because in 2025, Donnie, the old saying is back and it is louder than ever. Defense, folks, wins championships.
And defense travels as well. Getting caffeine on a Friday morning, getting ready for your weekend here. No better place to do it than right here, right now. And also includes the early lineup, the hottest topics across the sports landscape. You want offense? You just might get it in Cincinnati. The problem is you don't have much defense. Quote, Joe's been looking outstanding, man, Higgins said. It's slinging it deep, short routes. Everything's been pretty good. Another full practice yesterday from Joe Burrow. Is he coming back this week, Joe?
All right, well, if he does, I hope he goes both ways. I hope he also plays maybe safety or defensive back as well as quarterback because he is not only going to have to score points, he's going to have to figure out a way to stop the other team from scoring points, which is something the Bengals haven't been able to do. But, hey, if he's healthy, you're paying him enough money, you might as well put him out there, I guess, Donnie.
Joe Mixon, running back here for the Texans. Woody Marks looks pretty good. Looks like Joe Mixon's going to be down for the season. But I saw him tweet yesterday, like some insider reports from like Ian Rappaport. Hey, you know more than me, and I'm the player right now. But it looks like Joe Mixon hasn't played this year, probably won't play this year.
No, and it was an early in the season injury too, right? I think before camp or just the first week of camp, and I don't think they ever expected him to be back and to be ready this season. So. Listen, Marks does a really good job here. They've got some options at least, but like we just said, Donnie, the Texans are gonna win with defense, folks. That's just the reality of the situation.
I'll tell you a crazy story coming out of Dallas, or should we say coming out of Las Vegas. You saw a Monday Night Football here. You had the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Vegas Raiders. The Dallas Cowboys win that game, but it was mysterious the way that started, Joe. The 2 starting wide receivers were benched for the first series. Nobody knew why, because it was discipline. And it seems that CeeDee Lamb and also George Pickens were having dinner and drinks, which you know that's a cover-up anyway. That just means they were in the club absolutely getting hammered, and some people say, allegedly, CeeDee Lamb was throwing up early in the morning at a Vegas casino here. He declined that, but did say that they were out and he can handle his drinks. How do you Monday Night Football game, you're getting hammered the night before a game? It's crazy, man, some of these guys.
You shocker, really, quite the shocker. Well, listen, I've been to the Red Rock Casino, and I think I've actually thrown up in that same garbage pail that he did. Yeah. But I can tell you, but it's nice of him to clarify that it was just the curfew issue and not the fact that he was at the Red Rock Casino throwing up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Incredible. Hey, don't waste say we're only in Vegas once this year. Let's go out and make a night of it. And by the way, they played pretty well, both of those wide receivers, after staying out late and having cocktails here. So maybe that's something they can build on here. The Houston Texans, they were building on it last night. Defense. 23-19 victory over the Buffalo Bills, which saw a second half with not a lot of scoring. And Joe Ranieri's best bet stays easily under the total. How do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of shenanigans early in this game here, but ultimately the one thing reigned true right from the start is you knew Josh Allen was in trouble. They just could not protect him at all. I mean, 8 sacks, but I think he got hit 12 or more times in that game, and that is a recipe for disaster for the Buffalo Bills. So kudos to the Texans, weathering the storm and above 500 for the first time now.
How about the Philadelphia 76ers and Tyrese Maxey going to overtime to beat the Bucks 123-114, which included Tyrese Maxey, 54 points and 9 assist effort on the road in that victory.
Kid is being an absolute monster right now. I mean, he's kind of carrying this team until they can figure out how to get Paul George ramped up as well as Embiid, but he is carrying the load. That's a lot of minutes. That's a lot of effort through the early part of the season. But you know what? Keeping them afloat right now. The kid is unbelievable, Tyrese Maxey.
When Elvis used to finish a concert, Joe, they said, Elvis has now left the building here. And it looks like now the buses all have left the building for the Los Angeles Lakers. Executive brothers there are fired from their positions. Jeannie Buss is out the door. In come the Dodgers here to run the squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was inevitable. I mean, when the Buss family eventually sold it, I think maybe part of that deal was, listen, we keep the brothers on for a while and then, do whatever you want to do with them. And yeah, they bye-bye now, quietly too, by the way, apparently. Bye-bye, Buss brothers.
What a job. Like, I wish my dad owned multiple things, including sports teams. Like, hey, what's your job? Yeah, I'm an executive. I mean, oh my goodness, what a life they lived at this point, probably still living to this day. How about the WNBA? Those players want to live a more glamorous life. They want more money, as much as $1 million on a guaranteed salary for a max contract that they say just isn't enough either at this point. We're headed for a lockout in the W.
Yeah, okay. Let's see how that works out for him here. We talked about leverage this week here, Donnie. I'm just curious, what leverage does the WNBA Association think they have in these negotiations? I'm curious.
By the way, we don't know the financials behind the scenes. My goodness, like if they told, hey, by the way, we're going to increase your pay 4 times, that's not enough. Good luck with that. See how that one turns out. Spread lines are on the way on a Football Friday, right here on the early line.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
When I think of the European tour, these are the players I'm thinking of, right? So I understand why that they would be so frustrated by all this, but they also know that there are rules in place that, from a competitive standpoint, that if you're a member of this tour, like you can't go join a rival tour. Like there's rules in place, just like in any other business.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just, you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game, and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You want Friday Night Football? You got yourself from Friday Night Football here. It is a Football Friday on the Early Line and the SportsGrid Network, but it's also time for some of the top spread lines that you need to know for this weekend to make sure you're a more informed handicapper gambler or just a more informed handicapper gambler and football fan. Let's take a look at tonight, Joe. 8 o'clock in the ACC, 115, 116 on the rotation, Florida State and NC State. Line opened up last week, -3.5. Now we're seeing 5.5s and 6s in the marketplace as a road favorite for the Florida State Seminoles. The total in this game opened up around 60.5, still sitting in that range, 59.5 at most spots here. Florida State, NC State, Friday Night Lights, Joe. What's the spread line?
Yeah, Donnie, this is such an intriguing line here because Florida State, on paper, is night and day, heads and tails better than North Carolina State. It's not even close here. But yet you got to ask yourself, well, why? I mean, why is the market not, why has this not reached at least a touchdown or more? Because they are much better than NC State. And I can't help but to think, Donnie, that the answer is simply they can't win on the road. Donnie, I mean, they not only have not won on the road this year, they have not got, I mean, it's 7 trips now, or 9 straight, rather, losses away from Doak Campbell in Tallahassee. And that has got to be something that's weighing on the minds of these guys here. And it certainly looks like it's weighing on the minds of the market. Florida State should be a much bigger favorite than they are. But the market is hesitant because they know, even though they outplay everybody on the road, Donnie, they have 9 straight times figured out ways to lose on the road. I think they're going to win this game, but my goodness, it is tough to back a team that can't figure it out on the road.
Let's keep it Friday. And you want to talk about the ultimate road team. It's always Hawaii when they come to the mainland. This time they're going to take on UNLV at 10:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Look ahead line 2.5, Joe. Most outlets showing 2.5 and 3s as a favorite for UNLV. The total in this game in the mid-60s. Are we getting points tonight? What's the spread line between these two?
Donnie, this is a huge game for the Mountain West here and a chance at the title game here as Hawaii and UNLV come in with 2 of the top teams in that division right now. San Diego State sits up at top. So we only got 2 weeks left. The winner of this game likely has a pretty good opportunity to be able to play for a championship here. Listen, Hawaii averages 47 passing plays per game, right? We're starting to see a little bit of love in the marketplace for UNLV. They'll be home. That place will be crowded for UNLV here tonight. But if you can get under a field goal here, then I would back UNLV. If this thing hits 3 or more, you know, Hawaii at home, Donnie, you pass that much. You know, in Honolulu, you're dealing with double-digit wins all the time.
Yeah.
And they're still averaging 36, 37 points a game. What are you going to do on a fast track in a dome with 2 defenses? UNLV's defense is terrible. This is a first 1 to 40 is going to win, Donnie. I don't see how this game stays under this total. It would only be over for me here tonight.
How about that? A game in the mid-60s here. Now we transition to Saturday night college football in the ACC in a pivotal game between the Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. This one at Georgia Tech. Pitt heads on down. They're getting points here, 2.5 across the board. The total of 61.5. Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech, ACC, top line supremacy. What's the spread line here?
Well, Donnie, all week I have seen nothing. And we all know that Georgia Tech holds all the cards, right? They control their destiny for an ACC title shot and, of course, being ACC champion. But they got to get past Pitt. They got to get past Georgia next week. But I have seen nothing but money and tickets coming in on Georgia Tech this week at home. But, Donnie, this line has not moved an inch. So it's clear there's a line in the sand. The public is on the home and figures it's cheap, right? To get Georgia Tech at 9-1 at home here feels like the right side, especially since Pitt just got blasted by Notre Dame at home. But this line ain't moving, Donnie. So the pros like Pitt, the Joes like Georgia Tech. The total is interesting too here. That hasn't moved an awful lot either. In fact, opening a 62, we're down to 61. Maybe a little more defense, slower tempo than what the market thinks it's going to be. So the pros like Pitt. I like Georgia Tech. The public isn't always wrong, Donnie.
By the way, public might not always be wrong, but this week, the Indianapolis Colts are favored by the public here. Close to 6 out of every 10 tickets against who? The Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Joe, this line opened up 4.5 for Kansas City. We're now down to 3.5. But yesterday, we got some news that Daniel Jones banged up that calf. We'll see those practice reports come out today. It feels like another last stand for Kansas City because the one thing we do know, Last night probably wasn't a great night there for Chiefs backers making the playoffs. You have a win by Houston, another loss by, the Buffalo Bills. Most teams are holding that card of, hey, we already beat you, Kansas City Chiefs. Do the Chiefs go under 500 after this game? What's your spread line here?
Well, Donnie, it's for the first time in forever. It appears that the public and the market is finally fading the Kansas City Chiefs here, because yes, the look ahead line here, Donnie, 4.5, 5 was it. Then of course they lose to Denver last week. And now all of a sudden, usually it wouldn't matter, Donnie, right? The Kansas City Chiefs would get money regardless of what the outcome was the week prior. Not anymore. The public is tossing in the towel here, and all the money and all the tickets have been on Indy here. I'd be very careful with sticking a fork in the Chiefs just yet here. This is a team that's won the AFC West every year since 2016, Donnie. I doubt they're rolling over here because the Colts are coming to town.
All the money and the tickets, Joe. Perfect segue to our next game. It's actually on Cleveland. 8 out of every 10 tickets, 80% of the money. But the line, look ahead, Joe, is -2.5 as a favorite towards Vegas. All those tickets and money got to be going towards Cleveland, right? Nope. How about 3.5s and 4s in the marketplace now? Shedeur Sanders in Vegas. I wonder if he's going to stay out late and have some cocktails. What's the spread line?
Bingo here, Di. Look at it. It's ridiculous. This thing was 1.5, 2. Now I'm seeing 4s popping up, which means maybe the fate of Shedeur Sanders is on by the pros, but the public thinks that defense of Cleveland might very well be good enough to get it done here. I doubt it very much.
Let's take a look at what happened last night in the NFL. A big-time win for the Texans. And where does that leave the Buffalo Bills for the remaining part of this season? We'll be right back.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
When I think of the European tour, these are the players I'm thinking of, right? So I understand why that they would be so frustrated by all this, but they also know that there are rules in place that, from a competitive standpoint, that if you're a member of this tour, like, you can't go join a rival tour. Like, there's rules in place, just like in any other business.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just, you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game, and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
What happened last night in the NFL? Well, the Buffalo Bills went down to Texas and came away with a loss, making it 7-4 on the season. But we thought the Bills had everything worked out, Joe. Nice win by Tampa Bay at home, put up in the mid-40s. Yeah, we'll go down to Texas. They really can't score. We'll handle our business. The last 2 times we now saw the Buffalo Bills on the road, a loss to Miami and now a loss to the Houston Texans. 23-19 was the final score last night. Buffalo looked good to start. James Cook was running. If you would have told me, Joe, before this game, James Cook's going to have 17 carries for $116 and a touchdown, sign me up on the Buffalo Bills winning easy. And the public, before the game started, Joe, thought this game would be easy. 7 out of every 10 tickets at least going in on the Buffalo Bills yesterday. People couldn't get enough of the Bills. They don't get the cover. They don't even win. Good performance by that Houston Texans defense. 8 sacks on Josh Allen last night, Joe.
Yeah, and that's exactly the kind of game and effort that they needed here. And, we saw that total get pushed up, too, as the public never bets unders, Donnie. They always bet overs, and they pushed that line up to 44.5 last night, and they probably thought they were sitting real pretty after that first half. But the reality is that Texas defense is no joke here, and Josh Allen was in trouble from the get-go. Kudos to Cook for getting over 100 yards, but that was about it. Nothing else was working for Buffalo at all. Turnovers, again, the bugaboo for Josh Allen here. His interception prop is becoming extremely profitable, Donnie, here over the last, month of the season. So the Texans find themselves with a backup quarterback, but the number one defense, and that is good enough to beat one of the top offenses that just scored, 6 touchdowns the game prior against Tampa. Now they go indoors, and, Josh Allen doesn't get 1 touchdown. So, defense is ruining the day here right now for a lot of teams in the NFL.
Thursday Night Football, man. It is tough to go on the road. There's no doubt about that. By the way, did you see that fourth quarter? It was kind of interesting because 3 points in the third quarter, 3 points in the fourth quarter. Game stays under the total after having 20 points for Houston and 16 for Buffalo at the half, which was 36 total, and it stays under. The 4th and 27. Something is coming up for the Bills because they can't block anything. So it's going to have to be something quick out of there to run that in. How was Khalil Shakir able just to catch that toss and run up the sideline like nobody knew what was going on? I was shocked by a defense that's so damn good, and some have it ranked as the number 1 defense, gave up that 4th and 27. Like, oh my goodness, Joe. Bills are going to steal this game now.
Yeah, the old hook and ladder play, Donnie, which apparently Houston did not see coming. But, guess what? It was alive and well. And listen, it was an interception that ended the night for Josh Allen and Buffalo because they didn't panic that defense after that play. They had 20 some odd seconds on the clock. They had an opportunity. They were around the 25-yard line. They needed a touchdown because they missed the extra point on that first score. So, they shot themselves in the foot a few times, Buffalo, last night. But give credit to that defense was all over the place.
And I tell you what, usually, Joe, at this time of the year, the cream has really risen to the top in both the AFC and the NFC. And if you look right now at the conference winners, we are so topsy-turvy from what we even saw just about 2 weeks ago, as the Colts are now the favorites here at a 4-1 price to win the conference, followed by the Denver Broncos, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Ravens at 6-1. We have a logjam up top, and you know what? I don't know. We're going to know a lot about the Colts this weekend when they go to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Can the Kansas City Chiefs win? Oh, don't worry about the regular season. Even if they don't win the division, they'll be fine in the playoffs. Are the Denver Broncos with that pass rush as good as we think they possibly can be, but still have Nix at quarterback? And can he win in the playoffs? What are we thinking, Joe, about the AFC right now? Because it looks like there's not a clear favorite as you have a plus 400 all the way down to a plus 600, roughly 8 teams in.
Yeah. To me, it's going to be about defense, Donnie. I think that's as clear as day this season. And the best defenses are the most successful teams, even though they don't have great offenses. A great offense like the Buffalo Bills, capable of dropping 6 touchdowns a game, they're getting minimized by these defenses this year. And Indy might have the biggest sleeper, given the additions that they've made and how healthy they've gotten now in the secondary with Lou Anarumo. So keep an eye on that Indy defense. It might not matter what Danny Dimes does here moving forward.
And I'll tell you what, because again, the Kansas City Chiefs are 500. This isn't you're going into Arrowhead and they're 9-1 or 10-1 at this point in the season. But if the Indianapolis Colts go into Arrowhead and win that football game, it's the same thing with the Denver Broncos. Like, they're as good as their record says it is. It's time to start to believe in those two teams as we head down the stretch to playoffs. Yes, playoffs. Let's get more news and notes on the NFL across the board next. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
8 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight where Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's get the party started, people, for a Football Friday right here on the Sports Grid Network at the Early Line. We set the table for the morning so you can enjoy the rest of your day with all the knowledge you need to maybe play some wagers this weekend. And oh my goodness, 1 o'clock Arrowhead on Sunday. They welcome in the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts aren't even a favorite here despite having a much better record. Rested and ready are the Colts, but maybe just a little banged up coming into this football game. A 3.5-point spread here for Kansas City as the favorite in a total of around 49.5 to 50.5, depending where you're shopping. News comes down yesterday, though. Daniel Jones, calf injury popped up on the practice report. Make sure you check that practice report here on a Friday to see if he's limited or if he doesn't practice, where that leads. But the Kansas City Chiefs, week number 2 in must-win mode. Can they win this game? And should I say, Joe, will they win this game?
Yeah, well, and I think this is going to be decided about which defense shows up and shows out. I mean, listen, we know what Mahomes and company are capable of. They're a little different this year, and we saw what a really good defense can do to Denver to kind of shut down Rice and Worthy and no semblance of a running game, and it limits this Kansas City team. But again, that was in Denver. This is a totally different animal being at Arrowhead. I'm shocked the public has sold their stock in Kansas City, but I had said from the beginning of the week, Donnie, if this line got down to just a field goal, I'm on Kansas City because I got to see this defense of the Colts now. As good as it looks now on paper, it's got to be put together. They have allowed, a lot of points in the last couple of weeks. Even after acquiring Sauce Gardner and Bradley Chubb. So they're going to have to put it together in a hurry if I'm going to be backing this Indy team on the road, outdoors at Arrowhead. To me, it's advantage Kansas City.
You know what's interesting, too, about this Kansas City Chiefs team with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, one of those penalized teams in the NFL. You cannot put yourself behind the sticks and expect to win football games. You saw it last week against Denver, whether it's just, Taylor lining up repeatedly in the backfield for false starts or illegal formations here. You have to actually protect the football and run the football this weekend, Kansas City. I'm interested because this feels like, again, another referendum game for me on the Indianapolis Colts. Go in there and prove it to me. Win an Arrowhead. And this isn't even the best Chiefs team we've seen over the past couple years, but also for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll only ask you this question, Joe, before we move on. Chiefs lose this game. Do they even make the playoffs?
Yeah, this is, again, I think this is back against the wall desperation time for a championship team and quarterback and coach and organization. So I expect them to leave it all out there, Donnie, at home. I think it's got bounce back, and we've seen them lose games and bounce back in years past here. This isn't an all-world Colts team, despite the record. I do think that they are, win or lose, they are not going to leave anything out there on the field. This is going to be a playoff game for Kansas City.
Healthy in the secondary, too, now for the Colts. That's going to be a fun game to watch in a 1 o'clock game here. Usually we get those Chiefs games at 4:25, so it'll be an early window game. Another early window game. Might be a blowout and a bloodbath, Joe. The Seattle Seahawks travel on the road to take on Tennessee. I don't know what Tennessee does on offense. Apparently nothing. I don't think they practice offense during the week, but the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to be motivated and angry from their loss last week. A really good defense with a really good pass rush and an offense that should be able to exploit Tennessee. This total is only 40.5 points, Joe, down from 43.5, but look at the side. 13.5, a 2-touchdown favorite on the road for the Seahawks.
Yeah, Donnie, to me, this was an under from the get-go here. You're not going to get a lot of scoring from the Titans. I am not anxious in this spot to run and lay 2 touchdowns with the Seahawks this late in the season, Donnie. History tells us and the trends tell us it's a money burner, expecting teams to do this. And we usually, here we are, heading into week 12, Donnie, and we've got road favorites laying 2 touchdowns. Like, come on. Big effort by the defense last week against Houston at home. I think they make another big effort here. A lot of running by Seattle. I think they're just going to be happy with a win and get out of Dodge. And I would still bet the under, even at 40.5.
Minnesota and Green Bay from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Won't be that frozen, Joe. Close to 50 degrees by the time we're in the third or fourth quarter of this game. But a touchdown favorite for Green Bay, sitting at -6.5. The total also, Joe, dropping. The look-ahead line, 43.5. We're now seeing 41.5. Why? Because J.J. McCarthy looked pathetic, and there's a lot to love right now from that Green Bay offenses. Defenses might rule the day, but also a running game could be key on either side. Josh Jacobs is like, man, why do we even play games at MetLife anymore?
I think you're the first player ever to get hurt on MetLife and only miss 1 day of practice.
Yeah.
Where does that rank on your favorite stadium surfaces?
Definitely the worst. It's always been the worst. And I know if I ever play there again, I would never talk about it because I talked about it all week, how bad it was. And it bit me now. So, yeah.
First drive of the game, Joe bangs his knee into that turf. Wasn't right, left the game. Thank goodness there's no structural damage, but they're favored by a touchdown at home on the grass. See if he actually lines up there, talking about Jacobs for this game. Where are we leaning? Is this going to be a surprise for Minnesota, or Green Bay's like, no. JJ, you ain't winning no games here, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. There are already. When's the last time Green Bay won a game at home? Like it's not the end all be all that it has been in years past. Like, oh, good luck beating Green Bay at Lambeau. No, they've lost 2 games now back to back in spots in which they were big time favorites and couldn't get it done. And here they are again, laying nearly a touchdown against a division rival who also has a pretty good running back that, played for Green Bay and Aaron Jones. So this should be an interesting game. I think this is going to be all about the defenses. This kind of low total, if I can get 6.5, Donnie, maybe even 7, I'd be willing to take it with the Vikings.
How about this? Another blowout in the 1 o'clock window. Could be the Jets are on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens, who escaped last week from Cleveland with a victory. This line opened up 14.5. Still sits around 13.5 at just about every book out there, 44.5. But the key here, Tyrod Taylor inserted as the starting quarterback for the Jets. I don't know how much that changes, but at least they might get a forward pass or two here.
Well, listen, the Jets are better than their 2-8 record, Donnie, which is evident by the fact that they are 500, 5-5 against the number here. They left a couple of wins, very winnable games out early in the season that could have changed everything. But again, the Ravens are not the Ravens. They are still dealing with a ton of injuries. Lamar is not 100%. Derrick Henry is wearing down in front of our eyes here. And the Jets are playing with house money. They have nothing to lose, and now they might be able to push the ball down the field. I'm not running to the window to lay 2 touchdowns with the Baltimore Ravens either here. Sure, Baltimore will win this game, but a blowout? I'm not too sure of that right now.
Yeah, let's see if they can get that dub. I do think Baltimore needs to get back to their ways on offense, dropping those mandatory 28-plus point games. And maybe they can do that against the Jets defense that trying their best, but maybe just doesn't have the talent here. How about another blowout possible, Joe, in the 1 o'clock window? That's those New York Giants going on the road to take on Detroit. Detroit is angry after losing a game against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. They look to bounce back at home in the Dome, where they're usually very good on offense. The Giants, we don't know who their starting quarterback's going to be. Jameis Winston looked good last week and had a fourth-quarter lead against the Green Bay Packers, but now Jackson Dart trying to clear concussion protocol and get his team back on the rails. He can't play this weekend, can he, Joe? 49.5 is the total as well. Sheesh.
I mean, that's the key, right? Is he playing? Is he not playing? There's a difference. I almost kind of hope Jameis does, because then I would absolutely look at the over. Because not only might Jameis throw a couple of touchdowns for the Giants, he will absolutely throw a couple of pick sixes for Detroit as well. So I think the over is absolutely in play here, and I wouldn't expect any designed runs for Jackson Dart if he, in fact, does play in this game.
That's the problem. Like, what are you actually going to do with Dart when he gets back? Because we know he's athletic, and what has been working for the Giants is he's running. Now, he can't run at this point. You don't want to leave him in the pocket where he gets teed off from Aiden Hutchinson. A lot of question marks going around, and can easily be answered by, just don't play him this week. Wait till he's completely healthy, out of concussion protocol for a full week, and then move ahead with it. Just my 2 cents there. Let's get the 2 cents from Tom Vecchio coming up and how he's playing this weekend's action. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
8 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight where Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a Football Friday right here on the SportsGrid Network. The early line, we get down to business every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, because the weekend is here and the time to have some fun is right now. Sonny right side, Joe Ranieri. We welcome in Tom Vecchio to talk with us on a Friday morning on deck with a big weekend of college football and pro football action.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. We are coming off a bit of a weird game last night, as we were just talking about. We have some big spreads this weekend. We have some close games. Obviously the weekend is going to be highlighted by the Chiefs and the Colts, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Packers, Vikings, I would like to think has a little more juice. Maybe the Vikings can actually do something on offense, but I'm ready to go.
Let's have some fun, Tom, in the AFC. We'll get to some of the action this weekend, but what we saw last night, 8 sacks against Josh Allen, looking pedestrian. That's the second straight road game. They look like they just weren't competitive or ready to play. What are your feelings now on the Buffalo Bills as they sit plus 550 to win the AFC? And they're not going to win the division. They're going to have to do it on the road. But when you look around on the town, it's like, I don't know, maybe the playoffs are different. What did you find out about the Bills last night?
So, 2 weeks ago, or I should say last week, they put up all these points. They're at home, though.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to add a little, caveat to that. They're at home. They play so much better at home. But last night on the road against a tough defense, they're also shorthanded without Dalton Kincaid, and they had Keon Coleman, the second-year receiver. He was inactive again. Obviously, there's team issues going on. It wasn't an injury. So the fact that they chose to sit him when they knew Kincaid was out is concerning. I'm not saying I'm going to give them a pass on this game, but not being at full health on the road on a short week against a very tough defense was a tough spot to begin with. So how they respond in the next 2 weeks is going to be the most telling. And is this game that we saw last night against the Texans, is that a bad game or is it a sign of bad things to come? We just don't know the answer yet.
Yeah, short week on the road. It was a tough spot all the way around there, going up against the number one defense in the NFL here. But another pretty good defense here is Seattle. And boy, oh boy, to talk about Legion of Doom 2.0 here, they are on fire. But so is Sam Darnold if he's throwing it to the right team. But I'm not running to the window to lay 14 with them here. Is there another way we should approach this game against the Titans?
Yeah, Seattle's awesome. They're coming off a terrible game, and I know it was close late, and they had their chances. But ultimately, even if they won that game, Sam Darnold looked terrible last week, absolutely terrible, throwing the 4 picks against a divisional opponent, the biggest game they've had to the season to date, and he was terrible. So it's a terrible defense in the Titans. Again, you don't want to lay 14 points, especially on the road. And I wonder what this line would be if the Seahawks were at home. Maybe they push it closer to 20, which would be insane. But I want to back Sam Darnold having over 1.5 touchdowns. And a part of this is because he's coming off such a terrible game where they need him to get the mojo back. They need the offense to be moving down the field. And yeah, you can tear apart Titans defense and it's not going to tell us anything. The game against the Rams is obviously more telling, but I wouldn't lay the points with the Seahawks, but I want to back Sam Darnold over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He gets back on track and everyone will forget about the Rams game, and eventually they'll forget about this game when they score 30 some odd points.
Let's get to some other games here on Sunday, and you can find some dollars and some gold in some trashy environments and games, which Atlanta and New Orleans. Not a sexy game, Tom, but if you are playing this, which way you going?
Now, I'm looking to back the Saints. I have a little bit of a piece of the Saints money line. I got that at plus money right before Penix was ruled out. That line has moved a little bit. But I want to go to Alvin Kamara over 13.5 receiving yards. This is a really low line. And you look back at his recent game logs, he is all over the place. He's up at 30. He's down at 3. He's in the 20. He's down at 2. He is all over the place. But the matchup against the Falcons is one of the best. We see the Falcons, they've allowed 20-plus receiving yards to opposing running backs in 5 straight games. Some of these games, we do see Christian McCaffrey going for 70-plus, but consistently we're seeing a variety of running backs, whether it's Achane, whether it's Trevion Henderson, obviously McCaffrey in there. They are all going, plus 20 yards into the 40s sometimes. So I like the role that Kamara has. Shuck should be looking to him. If there's going to be any saving grace for the Falcons, it's going to be their defense getting pressure on a rookie quarterback. That's what's going to cause him. So if he has to get the ball out early, Kamara should be there.
Should we be looking to fade Kirk Cousins at this point here, Tom, in the prop betting market? Because he looks like he has spent the entire season on the sideline figuring out ways he's going to spend the $180 million they're giving him. And could care less. 6 of 14 for 48 yards last week in relief. What are we expecting here from Cousins?
Frankly, I don't know it off the top of my head, but the more I think about it now, is the Falcons team total under the way to go. The Saints haven't been great, and we know that, but I feel at times like the Saints actually like show some fight. Like talent is not always there, but they show some effort at home. So if the Falcons just can't move the ball, like could Kirk Cousins go over his passing prop and they're still terrible? Sure. Do I want to bet on Kirk Cousins? No. Do I want to bet against that? Probably not. But the team total, the offense being so efficient, combined with the fact that their field goal history this season has been terrible. So they could just not even get to 12 points, let alone 14 or 16.
Hot game this weekend, Tom. And no, we're not talking about Indianapolis and Kansas City. No, we're talking about right now, it's Cleveland and Las Vegas. Everybody wants to have an opinion on Shedeur Sanders in his first start. Does he throw a lot? Does he throw little? Do they run the football? Can they win this game? They're underdogs here. But Joe and I talked earlier in the show. The public can't get enough of betting the Cleveland Browns this weekend. How do you approach this game?
I don't know if Max Crosby's going to play. I know he popped up on the injury report, I have to assume. But frankly, the Raiders aren't a great team. I wouldn't lay over 3.5. I know that's the last time I saw the line. I wouldn't lay that. Myles Garrett could change the course of this game by himself with how dreadful the Raiders' offensive line is. Strip sacks and fumbles against Geno Smith is very, very probable. Am I running to the window to bet the Browns at plus 3.5? No, but I think if the Browns are going to have success, it's going to be a big Quinshon Judkins game on the ground. He's going to have to carry the ball 25 plus times.
Yeah, no, it does make some sense in this game where you lock it up where you can go either way. The low totals there in Shedeur for passing, but the passing attempts are close to 30 at this point. It's going to be a fun one to see how that one finishes out and if the public is right. Because the one thing we do know, at least one team is bringing a defense in this game, and that defense is the Cleveland Browns, one of the best in the NFL. Quick thoughts on Philadelphia and Dallas for you this week, Tom. You have the Eagles as a favorite here, but me as an Eagles fan, I don't know about this game. I'm not feeling too good.
How the Eagles offense operates is going to be the most important thing in this game. If they the Cowboys defense got an injection of talent with the players coming back in the trades. They also had a very soft matchup last week against the Raiders. This is a terrible defense, though, still overall. If the Eagles can't get it done against this defense, that is a very concerning sign moving forward. Their defense is great, but they just have no offense right now.
That's Tom Vecchio. He's ready for a big weekend right here on the Sports Grid Network. Make sure you check him out across the channels here. Tom, thanks for rising and grinding with us. For myself and Joe, we'll be back talking some NBA next.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In the 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Oh, yes, it is a Football Friday radio on the early line on the SportsGrid Network, but other sports are going on as well, which includes the NBA. And if you see some of the ratings for the NBA, you might say to yourself right now, Joe Ranieri, boy, look at this, highest opening month in the last 15 years. We also have to understand, Nielsen changed their ratings, so everything is up across the board. Take that with a bit of a grain of salt. We'll see if it continues. But for me, as you start to get into the dog days of winter, we'll see if the NBA can carry us through. But the ratings are good. Because every rating is good because, again, remember when they raised the SAT scores? Hey, you got a bigger score. Yeah, they raised the SAT scores, you dummy. NBA, is it true, Joe? Are the ratings really higher?
Oh, I mean, when you bring back, NBA on NBC, when everybody can watch it and nobody has to flip to any sort of pay-per-view kind of channel, then yeah, I would imagine there's going to be a ton more ratings available because that has not happened in a very, very long time there, Donnie, where give free access to the masses and look at how many eyeballs you get.
How about this? You're not going to get any eyeballs out there on Domantas Sabonis for the next couple of weeks. Why? He's not going to play. Torn meniscus, or partially torn meniscus in his left knee. He'll be reevaluated in about a month. Joe, there's two franchises in the NBA that could just go away. Nobody would care. It's Sacramento and New Orleans. Sabonis out. Oh, well, hurts.
And listen, you're not missing much, Sabonis, so don't worry about it because that team is absolutely awful. I believe they set some sort of record for losing again by double digits last night to all teams. The Memphis Grizzlies, 137-96. It's going to be a very long season for the Sacramento Kings. Any which way you cut it. Not good right now in Sacramento.
Maybe you combine both of those teams and move them somewhere. You know what I mean? Just say, you know what? This didn't work in New Orleans. It never worked in Sacramento outside of like 1 or 2 years with Chris Webber and the boys where they couldn't beat the Lakers because the refs wouldn't let them beat the Lakers. But that's another story from another time, 25 years ago. But last night, you did have a historic performance for Tyrese Maxey. It seems like he's scoring 35-plus every single night. Last night, a 123-114 victory, which saw Tyrese Maxey, 47 minutes, 54 points, 18 of 30 shooting from the floor, which included 6 knockdown triples and 12 free throws made. Oh, yeah, and he chipped in with 9 assists and also 3 rebounds as well.
I mean, amazing effort in overtime on the road, second of a back-to-back, and that was massive, but they got to be careful with him, Donnie. He is leading the league in played minutes this season. He's playing over 40 minutes a game. He played 39 minutes the night prior. He had to play an overtime game last night. He's averaging over 40, and we're a month into the season. You do not want to burn this kid out before we get to Christmas, Donnie, which unfortunately, with the depth issues, what choice does the Sixers have right now?
Exactly. Exciting backcourt here led by Tyrese Maxey. He is the engine of the Sixers right now as they picked up that victory yesterday, and deservedly so. Overtime, hard work, 50-plus points. Absolutely, you'll take that here. Let's get to some of the hardwood action tonight, Joe. 8 o'clock start, the Miami Heat. We used to talk about them being on the home for the past couple of games. Now on the road to take on the Chicago Bulls. This line opened up as a 1-point favorite here at FanDuel at Chicago. Now up to 2 and 2.5 for Chicago across the marketplace in a total. Hefty 249.5. Oh, we love to see that.
Listen, it's an NBA Cup game here, Donnie, as that returns here tonight. Yeah. And I mean, Chicago and Miami now 1-1 in that East Group C of the NBA Cup. Milwaukee, ironically, leads the group at 2-0, but they won't have Giannis moving forward. And the Bulls pulled off a last-second walk-off there on the road in order to be able to get the win against Portland. And that was the ended a 4-game losing streak they had. And now Miami coming off a nice little homestand, but they struggle on the road. So I don't know. This total at 250 might not be enough here, Donnie, but if both of these teams decide that, hey, the NBA Cup means something, I think the under might have a little bit of value here.
Nuggets and the Rockets, show will hit this one quickly. Maybe the marquee game of the night. Slight favorite here for the Rockets at -2 to -2.5 now where you're shopping at, and a heavy public ticket count on those Nuggets.
Yeah, and that's another one. NBA Cup group lead on the line for this one. I would not bet against the Joker in a spot like this.
The NBA Cup, man. Change the floors. Have some fun. Looks like we have 3, 6, 9 total games tonight, ending with a 10 o'clock game between the Trailblazers and the Warriors, and also Oklahoma City and the Utah Jazz. Big night, big hour, and hour number 2 is coming up next. More football's on the way. You know it is, people. Keep the dial right here on the SportsGrid Network. We'll see you in just a moment.